Picture a world without chilies. No spicy curry, no hot salsa, no paprika-colored goulash. It's hard to imagine how peppers have entrenched themselves in cuisines and cultures worldwide. Yet, up until about 500 years ago, pepper chilies were entirely unknown outside of the Americas. In this documentary journey, we'll explore how these fiery fruits, yes, botanically they are fruits, originated in the New World and spread like wildfire across the globe. We'll see how these peppers went from an ancient American crop to a global spice phenomenon. Do all peppers come from the Americas? In the case of the chili peppers, genus Capsicum, the answer is yes. Every variety of chili, from mild peppers to the hottest Carolina Reapers, trace its origins to the Americas. This is distinct from the black pepper, Piper nigrum, a different plant native to India, which gave the Europeans the word pepper due to its pungency. The story begins thousands of years ago in the fertile lands of the Americas, when indigenous peoples first domesticated these plants and unlocked their spicy secret. Ancient peppers and early cultivation chili peppers are native to Central and South America, and they have been part of human diets since prehistoric times. Archaeological evidence shows that people were gathering and eating wild peppers in Mexico around 7000 BC and cultivating them by 3000 BC. In fact, chili peppers are among the oldest domesticated crops in the Americas. Multiple centers of domestication existed. Early farming of peppers took place in regions like southern Mexico and also in parts of South America, Peru, Bolivia, and the Amazonian basin, possibly independently. This resulted in a great diversity of different pepper types long before any Europeans knew of them. For millennia, indigenous cultures in the Americas valued peppers for food and medicine. The Aztecs and Mayans, for example, used chilies not only to flavor dishes, often combining them with cacao or corn, but also in remedies and even in rituals. Chili smoke was used in some ceremonies, and as a punishment, it's said that misbehaving Aztec children might be disciplined by exposure to chili smoke. Peppers in Mesoamerican societies were more than just spice. They were believed to have therapeutic effects, used to treat coughs or as pain relief by inducing sweating. This ancestral knowledge set the stage for pepper's global journey around 1492. In 1492, Columbus set foot in the Caribbean, and with him the Americas and Europe began an unprecedented exchange of plants, animals, and cultures. Chili peppers were one of the most impactful gifts of the Columbian exchange. Columbus was actively seeking black pepper, the highly prized Indian spice, and was delighted to find a spicy fruit used by the native people of the Caribbean. Believing he had found a form of the pepper he sought, he called these fire fruits peppers. The name stuck, even though botanically chilies are unrelated to black pepper. Spanish explorers brought the first chili seeds back to Europe by 1493, astonishing scholars and cooks with this exotic new plant. Early on, some Europeans grew chili plants as curious ornamentals in gardens. The bright red pods were eye-catching. Monks in Portugal and Spain were among the first in Europe to experiment with using chilies in place of costly black pepper. One big advantage quickly became clear. Unlike tropical pepper vines, Piper nigrum, that only grew in India's climate, chili pepper plants could thrive in temperate climates and ordinary garden soil. This meant Europeans could cultivate their own pepper domestically, rather than rely on long-distance trade. By the mid-1500s, chili peppers had spread across Europe, grown in Spain and beyond. Historical records show peppers being adopted in Spain by the 1520s and making their way to Italy by 1526. to Germany by 1543, and to Eastern Europe, the Baltics, by 1569. In those Baltic regions under Ottoman influence, chilies began to be ground into a powder, an early form of what we now know as paprika. Europe's reception of the chili was mixed at first. Many appreciated its heat as a substitute for expensive black pepper or long pepper, another old world spice. In some places, chilies were first viewed as a medicinal curiosity rather than a kitchen staple, but common people soon embraced them as a flavorful spice that anyone could grow. A Spanish doctor in 1600 wrote that poor people in Spain were eating a lot of peppers, ají, because black pepper is too expensive, highlighting how chilies became the poor man's spice. Indeed, in places like Hungary, as we'll see, and elsewhere, local pepper cultivation gave people a cheap way to add flavor and excitement to humble diets. The pepper's journey did not stop in Europe. In fact, chilies raced across Asia and Africa, arguably even faster thanks to Spanish and Portuguese traders in the 16th century. The Portuguese, with their seafaring empire, played a key role in this global dispersion. They carried chili peppers on their ships from Brazil and Europe around the Cape of Good Hope to their colonies and trading posts in Africa and Asia. By the 1500s, Portuguese explorers introduced chilies to the west and east coasts of Africa early on. African climates proved ideal for these plants, and soon peppers were growing in African soils and finding their way into local cooking. Before chilies arrived, African cuisine did use some native peppery spices. For example, grains of paradise, a peppery seed from West Africa, was used as a substitute for black pepper in medieval Europe. But the chili pepper offered a new fiery heat. It was readily adopted and integrated with traditional foods. In West Africa, dishes like stews and hot sauces embraced local chili varieties, often similar to the American habanero or Scotch bonnet, which are now common in West Africa. On the Swahili coast of East Africa, the small, extremely hot bird's eye chili, known as piri piri, Kiswahili, became popular. The African bird's eye chili is actually a cultivar of Capsicum frutescens that was brought from the Americas. It grew wild in parts of Africa for centuries and is now a staple spice. African cuisines from Ethiopia to Nigeria developed their own chili-based sauces and relishes, adding bold heat to traditional grains, vegetables, and meats. India, it may surprise some to learn that Indian cuisine, famous for its heat, did not have chili peppers until the colonial era. Before chilies, India's heat came from black pepper and long pepper, native to India and mentioned in ancient Ayurvedic texts. The Portuguese likely introduced the first chili peppers to India via their colony Goa. By the late 1500s, the new spice was adopted with remarkable speed. South Indian cooks especially took to chilies almost instantly. The climate of South India was perfect for growing them, and they blended seamlessly with local dishes. Historical accounts note that chilies assimilated into South Indian diets quickly once they arrived. By the 17th century, dishes across the subcontinent began featuring chilies. However, it took some time for the chili to spread to every corner of India. Northern India, under Mughal influence, likely encountered chilies a bit later. In fact, it wasn't until the 18th century that chili peppers became common in northern Indian kitchens. One theory attributes this spread to the Marathas, a powerful group from the Deccan in the southwest who, during their military campaigns, gathered chilies northward. From then on, chilies became essential to Indian cooking. Imagine Indian curries or pickles without the chili's heat. In addition to cuisine, Indian folk medicine integrated chili pepper as well. For example, a home remedy for hoarseness was lages, made of chili powder, sugar, and a medicinal herb. And to this day, a common Indian superstition to ward off the evil eye is to hang a string of 7 green chilies and 1 lemon at the doorway, a ritual nod to the chili's now deep cultural significance. Chili peppers reached China, Japan, and Southeast Asia by the late 15th century as well. The Spanish, via their colony in the Philippines, introduced chilies to Filipino cuisine, from where they spread to neighboring Asian lands. In China, the earliest known Chinese record of the chili pepper dates to 1591, suggesting that by the late Ming Dynasty, people in coastal China were aware of this new spice, likely brought through Spanish Manila or Portuguese Macau. Over the next century, chilies took root especially in western China, notably in Sichuan and Hunan provinces. It may be hard to believe that the numbing hot Sichuan cuisine did not always include chili, but prior to the 17th century, the Sichuan corn pepper, a different spice, provided a tongue-tingling sensation. Once chili arrived, Sichuanese embraced the combination of chili heat with their native corn pepper. Similarly, Korea encountered a chili by the 1600s, possibly via Japan after Japan's invasion of Korea in the 1590s or via trade. The Koreans famously adopted the chili to create kimchi. With chili powder, interestingly, the now classic red kimchi only became common after chilies arrived. In Southeast Asia, Portuguese traders introduced chilies to places like Indonesia and Thailand, where they again were eagerly integrated into local recipes. Imagine Thai or Indonesian food without chilies. Nearly impossible. Now, each culture made the pepper its own. Thais balanced chili with lemongrass and lime, Indonesians with sweet soy and shrimp paste, Chinese with garlic and ginger. Chilies also made a place in Asian traditional medicines. For example, in Chinese herbal medicine, external use of chilies, as in chili paste or chili plaster, was used to warm the body and stimulate blood flow, such as in treating frostbite by improving circulation. In a few short centuries, the chili pepper went from a regional crop of the Americas to a global spice, thanks to rapid dissemination. By providing a locally growable source of heat and flavor, it displaced or supplemented long-established spices. It's often said that chili pepper conquered the world, and by the 1700s, that wasn't far from the truth. Cuisines on every inhabited continent were spiced with some form of capsicum. Paprika, Hungary's red gold, one of the most fascinating chapters in the pepper story is how a particular form of paprika became the soul of Hungarian cuisine. Peppers likely arrived in Hungary, then part of the Ottoman Empire sphere, around the 1560s, soon after reaching the Balkans. At first, these peppers were called toruk burs, or Turkish pepper in Hungarian, indicating they came via the Turks. For a long time, they were grown mainly as ornamental plants in the gardens of the Hungarian nobility. In fact, across Europe, early adopters thought of peppers as exotic decorative shrubs or medicinal oddities rather than everyday spices. So why did Hungary, of all places, turn the pepper into a national symbol? The answer unfolds in the 17th and 19th centuries. By the 1700s, Hungarian common folk, especially in the countryside, began using the dried ground red peppers as a seasoning. Conditions in Hungary's Great Plain were ideal for pepper cultivation. Hot summers, fertile soil, and notably, Hungary was a landlocked region that had lost direct access to expensive imports like black pepper due to wars and changing trade routes. Peppers were easy to grow locally, making them an affordable flavor for a cuisine that had relatively simple ingredients. Over the 18th century, what Hungarians called paprika, which simply means pepper in Hungarian, shifted from a peasant spice to a point of national pride. By the 19th century, recipes like goulash and paprikash, infused with the rich spice, became Hungary's signature dishes. Paprika's popularity was so great that Hungarian growers selected for milder, sweeter strains of pepper over time. In fact, up until the early 1900s, most Hungarian paprika was quite hot. Then, in 1920, a breeder in Szeged discovered a sweet, non-pungent mutant pepper and grafted it onto others, crafting the classic sweet paprika that is now common. Today, Hungary produces multiple grades of paprika, from mild and sweet to spicy, and it's often called the national spice. Why didn't paprika catch on as strongly in other European countries' cuisines? Elsewhere in Europe, chilies were used, but generally in moderation. Countries like Spain did adopt paprika, Spanish pimienton, in certain sausages or stews, and Italy used peperoncino, chili flakes, in parts of its cuisine, but Northern and Western Europe mostly regarded chilies as too pungent or simply exotic, sticking with black pepper, mustard, or horseradish for spice. Hungary's unique historical circumstances, Ottoman influence, suitable climate, and the needs of a modest peasant diet aligned to elevate the pepper into a centerpiece of culture. Paprika became to Hungary what olive oil is to Italy or soy sauce to China, an ingredient intertwined with national identity. Even the vivid red color of paprika is emblematic, painting Hungarian dishes in a warm hue. It's quite poetic. A plant that arrived as a foreign curiosity became Hungary's red gold, cherished in markets, kitchens, and even as a symbol of Hungarian pride. Strings of red dried paprika peppers hanging in Hungary, paprika has become central to Hungarian cuisine and culture. As peppers traveled and cultures bred new varieties, an incredible diversity of pepper types emerged. We often use the generic word pepper, but there are actually different species of cultivated capsicum, each with its own characteristics. The five main domesticated species are Capsicum annuum. The species includes a vast variety of peppers from mild bell peppers, sweet peppers with 0 Scoville heat units, to medium hot chilies like jalapenos or serranos and cayenne. Most of the common peppers we see in supermarkets, green and red bell peppers, banana peppers, and poblanos, are Capsicum annuum. It was first cultivated in Mexico thousands of years ago. The name annuum is a bit misleading. It suggests annual. They're actually perennials in warm climates. This species proved extremely adaptable, and it is now grown worldwide. Notably, paprika peppers in Hungary and many peppers in China or the US, like Anaheim or poblanos, also varieties of Capsicum annuum. Capsicum genus. Don't let the name fool you. Genus implies Chinese, but these came from the Americas. The label was a mistake by early botanists. Capsicum genus. Peppers are famous for their exceptional heat. Examples include the habanero, Scotch bonnet, boot julucia, or the ghost pepper, Trinidad scorpion, and the notorious Carolina reaper. These peppers have a distinct fruity floral flavor alongside their burn. They originate from the Amazon basin and Caribbean. Indigenous people in the Caribbean cultivated Scotch bonnets long ago, and later selective breeding led to super hot cultivars like the reaper. Capsicum fruticis, small but mighty. These species include the likes of Tabasco pepper, used in Tabasco sauce, and the Thai bird's eye chili Capsicum fruticans. Peppers are usually petite, very hot, and grow pointing upward on the plant. The African bird's eye chili, piri piri, is also in this group. Interestingly, after being introduced to Africa, it grew wild and became part of local ecosystems. These peppers tend to have a sharp bite and are often used in sauces or dried powders. Capsicum baccatum predominantly cultivated in South America, especially in Peru and Bolivia. Ají amarillo, staple yellow chili in Peruvian cuisine, is Capsicum baccatum. These peppers often have a slightly sweet or fruity undertone and medium heat. The plants have distinctive yellow or brown spots on their flowers, which help differentiate them botanically. Capsicum peppers didn't spread globally as much as the others, so they remain a cornerstone of Andean or Amazonian regional cooking. Capsicum pubescens, the outlier of the group, known by its Andean name rocoto or locoto, pubescens means hairy. Indeed, these plants have fuzzy leaves. Rocotos have black seeds and thick fleshed pods that resemble small apples or plum tomatoes. Typically red or orange, they grow in cooler highland climates, the Andes Mountains, where other peppers might not thrive. Rocotos are very hot and are used in Bolivia, Peru, and surrounding areas in sauces and stuffing dishes. They remain regionally important, but are not as globally cultivated. Scientifically, all these peppers are part of the nightshade family, like tomatoes and potatoes. Their fruits are berries and all contain the active component capsaicin, except bell peppers, which have a recessive gene preventing capsaicin production, hence no heat. Capsaicin evolved as a deterrent to mammals eating the fruit, but interestingly, it doesn't bother birds. Birds help spread wild pepper seeds far and wide as they don't feel the bird. How do we quantify the tongue-scorching heat of different peppers? Enter the Scoville scale. This scale, invented by pharmacist Wilbur Scoville in 1912, measures a chili's spiciness in Scoville heat units, SHUs. Originally, Scoville's method involved diluting a chili extract in sugar water until a panel of testers could no longer detect heat. The more dilution needed, the hotter the pepper and the higher the SHU. Nowadays, high-performance liquid chromatography gives precise capsaicin concentrations, but we still use Scoville units to describe heat. For example, at the mild end, bell peppers are 0 SHU, no heat at all. Moving up, something like a poblanos or smoked paprika powder might be a few hundred to 1,000 SHU. Very gentle warmth. In intermediate range, the serrano and cayenne peppers, mainstay of many cuisines, pack tens of thousands of SHU. Then come the heavy hitters. Thai bird's eye chilies or Scotch bonnets are 100K plus. And finally, the super hots, peppers that soar into the millions on the Scoville scale. Why don't we feel the heat? Capsaicin triggers pain receptors in our nerves, specifically the TRPV1 receptors, fooling the body into sensing burning heat. The body responds with sweating, a release of endorphins, and sometimes a pain-induced rush. That high feeling after eating very spicy food is real. It's the endorphins and the dopamine released as your body's response to pain. Interestingly, this reaction is also why eating chili can cool you down in hot climates. You sweat, and as it evaporates, your body loses heat. In many tropical countries, people say eating hot chilies makes them feel cooler. It's an adaptive use of the pepper's effects. In recent years, chili enthusiasts have been selectively breeding peppers to create even hotter varieties, leading to an unofficial spice arms race. One famous example is the Bhut Julukia, also known as the ghost pepper from northeast India. This naturally occurring hybrid was confirmed in 2007 as the first pepper to exceed 1 million SHU, earning it the title of world's hottest pepper at the time. In Assam, India, the ghost pepper has long been used in curries and even as a home defense. Locals would smear chili paste on fences to deter wild elephants. It also finds use in Indian military as the base for spicy pepper grenades to control crowds or enemy intruders. A formidable example of peppers as weapons. Not long after, pepper breeders in the Caribbean and the United States produced new champions. The Trinidad Moruga scorpion, around 1.2 to 1.8 million SHU, and then the Carolina Reaper. The Carolina Reaper, developed by Ed Curry in South Carolina, USA, around 2013, is a gnarled red pepper with a scorpion-like tail, averaging 1.6 million SHU and peaking over 2.2 million SHU. It's reigned as the Guinness World Record hottest pepper for about a decade. The burn of a Reaper is almost unimaginably intense. People who try to eat whole ones report severe cramps and a fiery agony that can last half an hour or more. As Ed Curry described after eating a new record hot pepper, I was feeling the heat for 3.5 hours, and then the cramps came. I was laid out flat, groaning in pain. Not exactly your everyday culinary experience, and yet the quest for heat continued. In 2023, Guinness confirmed a new title holder, Pepper X, bred by the same Ed Curry. Pepper X averages a staggering 2.69 million Scoville units, meaning it's over 3 times hotter than a typical habanero pepper. Uniquely, Pepper X ripens to a yellow-green color rather than the red. Its puckered, wrinkly skin carries so much capsaicin that Curry said he needed years to build up the courage to eat a whole Pepper X. For context, pepper spray used by police for self-defense is around 2 million SHU. We have essentially bred peppers that are hotter than weapons-grade pepper spray. These extreme peppers are not used in normal cooking. They're more for hot sauce challenges, eating contests, or producing capsaicin extracts. They exemplify how far the capsicum genus can go in producing capsaicin, and how humans have intentionally pushed these limits for thrill and curiosity. Why do people pursue such fire? For some, it's the endorphin rush and sense of victory over the heat. Culinarily, spicy food has often been associated with toughness or even masculinity. In places like India, Thailand, or Mexico, children grow up gradually accustoming their palates to higher heat levels. It's learned tolerance. There is also evidence that capsaicin's antimicrobial properties helped cultures in hot climates preserve food or kill bacteria. So historically, eating chilies might have had health benefits, encouraging its use. And of course, the flavors that accompany the heat, smoky, fruity, earthy, notes of different chilies, gradually enhance culinary depth. Peppers in medicine, myth, and culture beyond flavor. Peppers have long been a part of traditional medicine and folklore around the world. Their fiery kick made them a natural remedy in many systems. Peppers have a surprising role in superstition and rituals. We saw the Indian practice of hanging chilies and lemon to repel the evil eye. In parts of Italy, especially Nepal, a red chili-shaped horn called cornicello is worn as an amulet for good luck and protection. It's so common that many think the Italian horn amulet actually looks like a chili pepper. Italians also sometimes hang strings of red chilies in homes or cars to ward off bad luck. In the Caribbean, there are folk beliefs that a very hot chili in food can stir up passion, or conversely, that too much hot pepper in a child's diet might make them hot-tempered. In New Mexico, the decorative ristras of red chilies hung by doorways are both a way to dry or store peppers and a symbol believed to bring good health and luck to the home. Some enduring myths about peppers have been debunked by science. One common belief is that the heat of a chili resides in the seeds. In reality, the hottest concentration of capsaicin is in the whitish inner ribs, the placenta, that hold the seeds. The seeds themselves have very little capsaicin, though they can taste hot because they touch the capsaicin-rich pith. Another interesting fact, while you may have heard that eating too much chili can cause ulcers, modern research suggests the opposite. Moderate chili intake can stimulate stomach lining protection. That said, a super hot pepper can certainly feel like it's burning a hole in your stomach. Peppers even intersect with politics and identity. Consider that countries like Mexico identify strongly with the chili pepper. These cuisines use it not just for heat, but for flavor complexity. In the 20th century, as nations in Asia and Africa gained independence, some reclaimed pride in indigenous spicy cuisines that colonial tastes once deemed too hot. Revolutionary leaders from China's Mao Zedong to Mexico's Emiliano Zapata have been symbolically associated with eating fiery foods, as if spice and spirit are linked. A Nautilus magazine article even noted how chili's antibacterial properties and the endorphin rush might have given chili-loving cultures an edge and an affinity for bold rebellion. That might be a stretch, but it shows how deeply rooted peppers are in culture, far beyond the kitchen. A story woven in spice, from their humble origin as wild berries in the New World to their status as a global spice king. Chili peppers have traveled far and wide, leaving a trail of changed cuisines and spiced up lives. In a mere few centuries, these colorful fruits transformed eating habits on nearly every continent. They taught people that pain can be a pleasure. A little burn on the tongue can make a meal all the more memorable. Peppers have sparked innovation, served as medicine and metaphor, and even become tools of speculation. In the story-driven saga of Peppers and Paprika, we see themes of exploration, trade, adaptation, and creativity. The Spanish and Portuguese explorers carried a seed across oceans, but it was the local peoples in India, Africa, Europe, and Asia who adopted and adapted the chili, embedding it into their own traditions. Peppers also illustrate the unexpected outcomes of globalization, how something unknown can swiftly become indispensable. Imagine Sichuan without chili, or Budapest without paprika, or Bombay without its pungent curries. Unthinkable today. Yet all made possible by that exchange after 1492. In the end, the tale of the pepper is a celebration of cultural exchange. A single plant species, nurtured by indigenous Americans long ago, ended up connecting the world through taste and sensation. Every time we sprinkle chili flakes, stir a spoon of paprika, or bite into a crisp bell pepper, we are partaking in this grand history. It's a history that is quite literally flavor-packed, a testament to how simple plant can ignite passions, forge identities, and create a legacy spanning thousands of years in countless communities. And that's the magic of peppers. Small in size, but huge in impact, carrying stories and heat in equal measure across the globe.